women. Pascal, you wanted to get into the $840,000 that one of the BLM founders spent on her brother's security.
That's correct. Uh, Thank you for that interesting segue into my news segment, Jason. For those of you who do not know, there's been a significant amount of, let's say, revelations being made about how funds that had been allocated to the Black Lives Matter organization and its members, as well as some of its leadership, had been allocated. There had been a study that demonstrated that, accordingly, Black Lives Matter had amassed something in excess of $92 million, and that they had 42 million on hand. When recently there was a report that showed that $840,000 was paid to by Patrice Cullors to her brother in order to provide security to the organization. So there have been all of these new developments demonstrating how, let's just say, large amounts of money have been questionably, spread forth amongst the Black Lives Matter coterie. And what's particularly problematic about this is that I remember when Black Lives Matter, the hashtag, first surfaced after having met the founders of the hashtag at a Black Alliance for Just Immigration conference. And I remember I found it strange that the hashtag came about at the same time in which the Ferguson protests were actually taking place in the streets of Ferguson, yet there seemed to be no connection between how this hashtag, which was created by a group of professional foundation worker, NGO types, and the urban rebellions that were happening in Ferguson seemed to coalesce. But what was fascinating to me at that time was the way in which, because of a need to fulfill a particular narrative around the identitarian praxis of who is the proper leader of the new movement of Black politics, revolved around this concept of we need to have the women who are of a particular gender orientation or fluid sexual identity be the new face of quote unquote Black leadership, because God knows those traditional men had made a muck of things. There was this automatic drive to make it seem like a new Black movement was amongst us, and that a new development in Black politics had all of a sudden swept the nation. Of course, there were many voices like Adolph Reed, like Cedric Johnson, who were very skeptical of this new development because they realized that this is nothing but foundation capture in a new form, trying to mask what has been the problem with Black politics being race reductionist in the new kind of fetishization of all of the deaths that had come about as a result of the post Trayvon Martin moment. But what was particularly fascinating was how all of these individuals, particularly members of the white left, have felt it was absolutely necessary for us to energize all of our support around Black Lives Matter as if it was the proper and adequate and correct demonstration of how exactly Black politics needed to address the current moment. No question was asked about the actual statistical data about what was the rate of Black police homicides and how it had changed over the last 50 years. No question was asked about what exactly was the rate of Black police homicide to white police homicide, and why exactly were these problems being racialized. But at the same time, there was this constant focus on anyone who dared to challenge the integrity of Black Lives Matter was somehow either a sexist, a homophobe, or just generally a hater not interested in seeing Black women lead a movement. So I ask, in retrospect, after considering all of that praise that was laid about early on, these awards, all of millions of dollars that were laid to this organization, when we now have, in the face of the COVID increased crime wave, states looking to increase the carceral apparatus that's going to adversely help Black and brown communities, crime going up precipitously, and no particular change in the nature of how police are dealing with Black and brown communities. How exactly has this turned out? Were those voices on the left that were basically saying that maybe we should be a little bit more, let's just say, judicious in how we lay praise to these hashtag movements, and maybe we should stop believing that hashtags are the proper way to allocate political movement strategy in the first place, and the idea that a Twitter hashtag is going to be the movement du jour that solves the issues of Black people is the problem in the first place. So I would subject that maybe we should stop rethinking ourselves politically in terms of these social media phenomenon and start going back to the old school original way of organizing movements, which are based on the material conditions of the people involved and actually going door to door and accessing what their problems are.
Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe on your way out. You can catch the live stream of This Is Revolution every Tuesday through Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific Time and Saturday, 9 a.m. Pacific Time. This is Revolution.